Today we're going to talk about finding percent of change. First, what is percent of change? Basically, it's a percent that tells the amount of change that's happened over a period of time. You'll start with one amount and end with another. Percent of change will tell you how much percent you've changed. For example, the price of gasoline on February the 20th was $3.80. However, the price of gasoline on March the 21st was $3.66. Obviously, from looking at the current price in comparison to the older price, there was a decline or a percent of change between the two prices. When the percent of increase or decrease is expressed as a percent, the percent is called the percent of change. However, you need to make sure you understand the formula for finding percent of change. Percent of change is found by finding the difference between the current amount and the original amount. Once you have this difference, you will then divide that by the original amount. If the fraction is negative, then your percent of change would be a decrease. However, if your fraction is positive, your percent of change would be an increase. First, here we have Paul, and he's been working hard to pull up his grade in math this quarter. His average went from a 72 to an 86. So already we see that he started with a 72 and he ended in the B range with an 86. So obviously that is an increase. The question is asking for his percent of increase. So to find the percent of increase, I'm going to use the formula. First, I need to find the difference between the current grade and the past grade. So I need to figure out what 86 minus 72 is. As you can see, you have a larger number minus a smaller number. That will give us a positive 14. So the difference needs to now be divided by the original grade, which was a 72. So we have our fraction that we could first change into a decimal, which would change to 0.19 with a 4 repeating. And we've learned in class how to go from decimal form to percent form. The decimal will come back twice, leaving the percent of increase to be about 19.4%. Let's look at another example. Here you have an article, and in this article it's talking about the amount of time that kids from the ages of 8 to 18 spend on a computer. According to this article, in the year 2004, the average amount of time was 6 hours and 21 minutes, whereas today the average amount of time is 7 hours and 38 minutes. So obviously there was an increase, and if you read closely, it tells you that there was an increase of 1 hour and 17 minutes. In order to find the percent of change, we first need to find the difference in the time which was given to us, and then we're going to divide that by the original time. So what I suggest that we do for our purposes is round that time from 7 hours and 38 minutes to be about 7.5 hours, and subtract 6 hours and 21 minutes. Well, again, we'll round that to 6.5 hours to get a nice even difference of 1. So we're going to take the difference and divide that by the original time, 6.5 hours. And when you put this in the calculator, 1 divided by the mixed fraction of 6.5, you're going to get a decimal Well, actually, you get a fraction that you could change to the decimal. I'm going to round my decimal to the hundredths to be about 0.15. Again, remember, in order to change a decimal to a percent, you move the decimal place back 2 times. So it looks like the percent of increase or the percent of change was about 15%.